to your body and moving in a feel-good way is going to give you a positive movement experience. All right, so we're going to turn to face your ball, and legs can be wide, about as wide as your mat, and you're just going to let the ball reach forward, just lengthen forward and bend your knees and lengthen out. And you're going to round your back and then extend as you bend your knees. We can exhale as you round, let your head relax, and inhale, lengthen out, lift your sits bones up and away. Nice and easy through your neck and shoulders, just feeling your spine, finding your breath and your movement working together. Round, and we'll do two more. Inhale, open your chest, reach your sits bones back, and exhale, soft shoulders, heavy head. And one more time, let your ribs expand as your chest reaches to the floor. And then round your back and roll all the way up to stand. We're going to sit on the ball, and we'll just have your knees bent, feet planted. And we'll just bring one arm up, soft shoulder, and then side bend over, and letting this hip draw down towards the ground. Breathing in, keeping your arms lengthened. Your arm is really, this arm, top arm, is really just directing traffic for your rib cage. So if you can keep your elbow long, it'll help your ribs to expand again. Inhale, side bend over, let your hip reach down. Exhale to come up. Inhale, over, finding that beautiful space and length down the whole side of your body. And over, and one more time, and over, and all the way up. Good. So now we're going to work from your pelvis through your back again, and arms out to the side, feet planted, and just hip width apart. You're going to tuck your pelvis under, round your back, scooping through your tummy. And then as you come up, you're just going to lift your chest up to the ceiling and let the low back relax and just go where it feels good. As you bring your body to tall, arms to the side and round. Exhale. Inhale, up, find extension that just feels good for you. Arms to the side, tuck under and round. Lift up and expand. Open and round. Inhale and exhale. Two more. Inhale, just feeling your body, finding the range of motion where you can have flow with your breath. One more time, up and exhale. And now you're just going to sit tall. We're just going to rock your pelvis from one side to the other. So all I'm doing is letting this hip come over, hiking the hip up a little, and rocking to the other side. So I'm literally just going from one sits bone over to the other. So we just rock, letting your pelvis and your spine feel all the ranges of motion that it's designed to move in. And then coming one more time here, and then to center, we're just going to rock forward and back. So it's just a little tuck, and then a tilt. Focus on working from the muscles that move your pelvis to create this action. And again, just working in a range of motion that feels good for your body, where you can find that smooth movement. Exhale and inhale. Exhale, noticing my pace, moving with my breath. I don't want to move too quickly because when I move slow, I have more control over the movement. I also notice more. It's called sensory motion. And so the more we sense, the more we feel in our movement, the more aware we are of our body. So we'll do this one more time, and then we're going to do a little clock where we combine those together. So we're going to take your pelvis over to the left, and then you're going to come into your tuck, and then take your pelvis to the right, and extend back. To the left, tuck, to your right, and around. So I'm really thinking about the movement just being in my pelvis as opposed to my upper body. My upper body is responding to the movement in my pelvis, but I'm thinking more about keeping this still and just moving from the pelvis and lumbar. Let's go the other way. So we tip to the right, we tuck, tip to the left, and tilt back. To the right, tuck. So noticing that there's not a lot of change between my upper back, my shoulders, and my head. That I'm staying nice and still in this quadrant here and just moving from my lower body and all the way around. Gosh, that feels good on the low back. Hopefully that feels good for you. So now sitting nice and tall. This ball's a little bit big for me, so I'm sitting a bit forward so my feet can be planted. So just find that comfortable spot for you. Now think about lifting tall through your spine. You can just let your arms relax forward or fold them in front. And we're just going to lift one heel at a time, one heel at a time. And what you want to focus on is finding the stability through your pelvis, such that when you alternate one heel lift and then the other, that you're nice and stable in your center. Heel and heel. And one more each way like this. And then we'll lift both together and lift and lift. So as we're getting a little warm up through our feet and our ankles, really what we're challenging is your ability to stabilize between your pelvis and ribs as you roll through your feet. And we'll just do two more. Nice steady breath. And one. Good. Now step your feet wide. Let your arms just sort of hang in front of your inner thigh and take a breath. And spine stretch forward as you exhale, rounding your back to roll forward. Shoulders soft. Just move your head like you're saying yes with your head. And take a breath in. As you exhale, draw your belly to spine. And as you roll up, you restack to your sits bones. And then each vertebra, sternum and head. Inhale. As you exhale, think up and over. Each vertebra is an individual joint that each one is lifting and then flexing forward. And then as you're hanging down, just say no with your head side to side. Breathing in, feet are planted. You can use your big toes gently pressing to the floor. And exhale, using your abdominals to restack. Can you feel when your sits bones come on top of the ball? And then your pelvis and your ribs as if you're lining yourself up against a wall. One more time. Inhale. So when we have space in our body, there's room for movement. The stability precedes the mobility. So this is where getting that stability through your feet, through your pelvis, allows for this motion to happen in our joints and sitting tall. Good. So then bring your feet again in a parallel position. Take your arms out either goalpost or straight out to the side. We want to stay on top of your sits bones and think of this balance between the front and back of your body. So we're not letting the ribs roll forward and overworking the back or working in this slouch where we're too much in the front. We want to find that balance where the front and back of body are working in balance together. And then arms are out, soften through the shoulders and reach the tips of your elbows to the side wall. So I'm not just thinking about holding my arms up. I want to focus on the energy coming from my spine between the shoulder blades and that sense of lengthening energy from my spine to my shoulder blades, out the upper arm, your humerus, and that energy, it's like this beam of energy comes from your elbows to the side walls. So you're really reaching, almost like you could feel like this bone is getting longer, yeah? So keep that connection. And what we're getting there really is mid-back stability. And you might even feel a little bit of a neural stretch. And then hold that and you rotate. And then come back to center. Inhale, rotate. Think of a 3-count inhale. And exhale. Now, your arms stay here. As you're rotating, focus on your sternum turning and your arms holding that energetic position of your elbows reaching laterally to the two side walls, then to the front walls. Your pelvis stays anchored to the floor, your feet are planted, so we're not rotating all the way through the body, but just your thoracic spine and center. And so notice what range of motion is available to you without compensating by bringing in additional movement, for example, in your pelvis and in your legs. And one more time, my elbows are reaching, sternum is turning, elbows are reaching, sternum is turning, and then come back to center and place your arms down. Perfect. All right, so we are going to stand and get into a little bit more legs. So it'll be similar exercise to what we started with. You're going to take your legs apart. There's a little bit of a turnout in your hips, and therefore your knees and feet will follow. And so depending on how wide a stance you want today for this, the wider the turnout. So I'm going to go about as wide as my mat and focus on the squat. So while the ball is gliding forward, I'm thinking more about the squat starting from my hips and my hips sitting back. Notice as I'm letting my hips sit back, I'm keeping long in my spine. And there's even that sense of a little bit of extension in through the low back as I squat deeper. So again, that dance from the front and back of the body as my abdominals are drawing in to support that movement of my spine. And so I take a nice breath. Notice it's my hips and knees that are moving, much different than the upper torso going forward, flexing at my hips, knees, and ankles, and just letting my upper body follow that natural curve through the spine. And we're going to take it down and do some pulses this time. So we're going to come down into your squat, tummies are in, you've got the ball for a little bit of support, which can be nice. And so we're just pumping and just pulsing. Check that your knees are in the same direction as your toes. So if there's a little bit of a turnout, you want the hip to be turned up, but your knees and feet following that line. What we want to be careful of is that we're not having the toes out and the knees dropping in. So we want to open the hips, knees point over the toes as we do that pulse. So let's do 4 more here. 1, 2, and then we're going to hold it down, lift through the tummy, back is strong. We're going to lift one heel at a time, alternating. Now here you want to focus on keeping your pelvis nice and steady. So we're not letting the hips shift. Instead, stabilize from your abdominals in the side hip, and then we can alternate. Now let's go to double trouble, both together. Back strong, abdominals drawn in, and we lift. Knees with your toes. So we're getting some glute stability, some leg work, and we'll do 3 more. That's nice. Keep your breath going. And 1. Good. And stand all the way up. Good. Shake those out. Well done. Okay, so now we're going to stand with the feet parallel, and we're going to practice stepping forward and lunging, and then coming back. Same leg, opposite leg. So if I've got the ball on my right-hand side, I'm stepping with my left leg. Now, when I step, we want the heel-toe strike, lunge, keep the front heel down, don't go so far forward, the heel lifts, and then I want to push back through my toes. So I heel-toe strike, lunge, brace, and step back. Notice when I come back that I'm not throwing my shoulders back. So that would be a compensation where you throw the shoulders back and step back. Instead, heel-toe, engage the core, push through the foot, and lift through the abdomen. We'll go 2 more here. Start with the smaller step, and then you can make the step bigger as your body understands that movement. So now we're going to step forward. So notice that I've got my foot ahead of my pelvis. My knee currently is over my ankle. Right hand is on the ball. I'm going to take the ball forward. I'm going to bend my standing leg and lift the back leg. Notice, left knee is bent, leg is lengthened, back is straight. So my tummy is working, and then I come back. I'm going to roll off the foot, Brace with this leg and come back. And again, nice long spine. Your chest is up. Your eyes are forward. Roll, pause, hold. And then notice how much you're needing to use the ball. So we've got the ball to help give us some support with balance, but are you relying on it? Could you let go of the ball knowing that this leg has you? And that's what we want to be able to do, is find balance in our body and not be using external forces to keep ourselves upright. And reach. Now this time we're going to hold it. Remember, the standing knee is bent, abdominals are in, and now take your body forward and up. So I bend my standing knee a little more, I push down and extend, and reach. As you bend the front knee, reach your back leg long, reach that leg back as you keep your chest lifted. So reach the leg back. We have this energy moving long, back as well as forward with your eyes. 2 more. Your option is keep the back toe down. And last one, and come up. Step back, good. Did you feel that in your side hip? So we've got strength in movement in the leg, but we also have stability that's happening through your foot, your ankle, your hip, and then your torso. So let's do the other side. So we're standing feet together. We're going to keep stepping with this leg. I'm on my right side. And we just lunge and push back. Remember to start small. So you don't have to take a huge step out of the gate. You want the movement to be strong and fluid. You want to keep your breath moving so you find this energy coming from your breath. So it's that heel toe strike. And then as you push off, your toes come off flat. So there's some plantar flexion through that push. And back. Good. And then we go forward and back. And we'll go one more time. Heel toe strike. And now this time you're going to take it forward. And we want to stop where the knee is bent and your knee is over your ankle and your front foot is planted. So bring the ball a little bit forward. And then you're just going to lunge. Bend the knee. Press down into the ball to lift your chest. So we want to find our balance through the standing leg, but we can also use our tools, our props, in this case a stability ball, to bring connection to the center. So as I come back and I push into the ball, I can use that to help get some abdominal activation. Good, forward. And now we'll start to lift the back leg off. Here we go. We go forward. Think long here, guys. Think long. So reach your leg long behind you as you keep your chest up and your eyes forward. And reach. And back. Now we're going to hold it there. Hold it. And we're going to lower the standing leg and lift. Remember, your option is to keep the back toe on the ground. You can also bring the ball in front and use both hands. And give yourself a little bit more of support. Good, listening to your body and keeping your breath. And one more time, we take it forward and come back. Good, so again, working on that foot to butt to belly connection. When we activate energy through the foot, it acts to engage our hip, and it also helps to engage our core. Excellent. So now we're going to pick up the ball. So we want to come nice wide bent knee stance. Hips are turned out, so knees and toes are turned out. And we're going to touch the ball to the ground, bend the knees, and then stand up and reach the ball overhead. Bring the ball center, bend your knees, touch down. Use your core, strong back as you bring the ball up. Bend and touch down. Bring it in and lift up. Good. Down and touch. Find your breath pattern. We can inhale and exhale. Inhale through your nose. Good. And exhale. One more time. Inhale Now, when we're holding the ball in our arms, what we want to do is get the activation through the arms and the mid-back, not your neck and shoulders. So we're going to hold the ball, and I want you to soften your elbows, tighten your tummy, and just gently press into the ball, and just a little squeeze, and let the elbows draw downwards a little bit. So I'm not drawing them big, but from elbows, tips pointing to the side wall, I'm just drawing them down. What I'm thinking more about is squeezing through my back, using those big muscles, the latissimus dorsi, and squeezing down as I press into the ball and squeeze. So I'm thinking back behind the armpits and below, and notice how your abdominals are drawing in as well. So muscles like to co-contract together. They like to work together. And we go and squeeze through the back. I picture that there's like a smaller ball under the side, under my arm and ribs. And I just want to press into that as I press into the ball. And one more time, and take it down, squeeze, and bring it back up. Wonderful. So now we're going to bring the ball to the ground, and we're going to come down onto our knees. Now, depending on the surface you're on, you might want to, if it's hard like mine, you can always just take part of your mat and fold it so you have a little more padding. But if you have carpet underneath your mat, it might be just fine. So we're going to work on these planking and stabilizing muscles. You're going to just fold your hands in front. And again, you want to think about just activating through the mid-back here. When I say the back of the armpit, it's not really that, but it gives you that idea, and it helps to get us into that place where we can activate the lats and then your abdominals at the same time. So when we press down into the ball, just think of making a little indent into the ball. Can you feel that engagement through the mid-back and your abdominals happening at the same time? And we look to find that degree of engagement where it's not creating unnecessary tension in through the neck and shoulders. So we don't want to work so hard that we're making it really hard. We want to find that connection where we just feel the strength and stability in through your torso. Let's do that one more time. Exhale, press down. Now hold that energy where you're pressing into the ball so you feel stability, right? So stability is more of a long, slow distance. You're working at more like a 3 or 4 out of 10. And then we maintain that as from your shoulder joint, you just gently go forward. Now in this plank, check that you haven't lost that connection, that your shoulders have not gone up to the ears. Instead, your back is strong, your core is engaged, and your abdominals are engaged through an up and in motion. So we inhale, go up, and exhale. So the range of motion that you will choose is really based on, can you maintain a straight line from your knees to your head? Can you keep that activation of the mid-back and your abdominals, such as the movement has flow, the movement feels smooth, and you're able to maintain your breath. I always say you want to feel strength versus strain in your body. So I'm really looking at triceps, mid-back, and abdominals. I am squeezing my legs together, so there's a little bit of activation in the glutes in your inner thigh. So we're basically holding it together. That's kind of the theme of our last year, just holding it together. So tummy's tight, back strong. Inhale, exhale, press down into the ball. Come up tall through your spine. And one more time. And exhale to come back. Good. Just take your knees, let them open a little here, and just come forward through the upper body as you sit your hips back. Let your head relax down. And you can just turn your head side to side. You can do little circles with your head if that feels good. And you can circle the other way. And just take a couple of breaths in and out. Good. And then come all the way up. Awesome. So let's lie down now. So you can unfold your mat. And you're going to lie down on your back. and place your feet, your legs on the ball. So the ball will be basically snuggled in towards your thighs and your arms are long by your side. So now we're going to open our hips, work a little bit more in the back body. So shoulders relaxed, arms long. As you exhale, I want you to push into the ball, getting that activation of your abdominals and just rolling your hips up. Now the ball will move a little bit here, and that's okay. Squeeze your legs together. So your thighs and your knees and your ankles are together. I'm not thinking about straightening my knees. I'm not pushing from my legs. I'm lifting from my pelvis, from my hips. And as a result, the ball moves a little bit just to make space for that extension. Notice if as you lift, you're moving in a straight linear line as opposed to, whoa, like a rocky boat in high seas. So activate your core. Notice your hamstrings, back of your thigh. And what we're looking for is that you can stabilize enough that you go up nice and smooth, straight through the center of your spine, and then come down. And we'll go one more time, and lift, and bring it back down. Wonderful. Let's keep your legs there. We'll take your hands behind your head, interlock your fingers, and we're just going to come into a chest lift. So here, relax your shoulders, let your head be heavy in your arms, and let your elbows come a little bit forward so that you're more creating a hammock for your head. We're not pulling the head forward. Instead, we're just letting the arms hold your head in space, nice and relaxed through the front of your chin. So ultimately what we're doing is we're using our upper abdominals to create this flexion. So we're going to hold this position and rotate to the left. Now what am I doing? I'm keeping my pelvis and the ball and my legs still, thinking sternum, rotating, reaching my left elbow down, keeping my right elbow open, and come back to center. So I'm taking the shape that I'm in facing forward and holding that shape as I rotate. So nothing is changing between my arms and my head. Instead, I'm letting my upper body turn. So thinking sternum rotate, reach your elbow down, and center. One more each side. Exhale. Staying lifted right up onto the bottom of the shoulder blades. And exhale. And now bring it down and rest. Good job. Okay. So we're going to take the ball out further. So now it's more your heels and lower part of your calves are resting on the ball. And now with this longer lever, as you exhale, you're going to bridge up. And then you bridge back down. Now what we want to look at here is that you're working balance between the right and left sides of your body. So if you lift and you feel the ball float off to one side, you want to play with using your legs by pressing down into the ball. So if I push with my right leg, it's going to send me right. It's telling me that my left side isn't activating in the same time. So you can use that feedback. So again, if you're drifting right, press into the left leg. Think about the left hamstring engaging. Now, if that's feeling pretty good, you're nice and balanced and centered, we can take a base of support down, bring your arms up and simply lift. So I'm pulling in through my tummy. I'm working from my back of my legs, but using my heels into the ball to help me travel center. So I don't want to just float up and float off to the side. I want to use that as feedback that I need to activate the other side of my body and then come back down. And we'll go one more time and we're going to hold it. Now here, bring your arms back down, step onto the bottom of your feet, and you're going to pull in and out. Pull in and out. Now check that you're not over gripping through your necks and shoulders, that you're just tightening your tummy, squeezing your legs together, and you pull, and I'm losing my socks, so that'll be the last one. Bring it down. If you were losing your socks too, you could go ahead and just bring them back on. Good. Okay, excellent. So let's bring the ball in close again. Hands come behind your head. Actually, let's just put our feet on. Change my mind. Lift yourself up into a chest lift. Check that your shoulders are relaxed, your head is heavy. And we're going to extend your legs out and then pull them in. Inhale, send your legs away. Stay lifted in your chest. Exhale, pull in. Inhale. Now use your exhale, get a little deeper activation of your abdominals. Inhale. Now as you bring your knees in, exhale, add your rotation. Inhale, center. Exhale to rotate. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more times. Thinking of how your upper abdominals are pressing your lower ribs to the mat, allowing your thoracic spine to flex. Bring it center and take it all the way down. Bring the ball in. You're going to take your feet just on either side of the hump. We want to keep your feet relaxed. You want to watch that you don't start to crank the feet in or out. And instead, we want to focus on your inner thigh with your abdominals. You're going to lift up and press in using the inner thigh. Check that your feet are relaxed. And then you lower down. And again, press into the ball. You can touch your inner thigh. Make sure you feel them engage. And then bring it back down. Knees will relax. Exhale, up. So we want to get that again. Dance between the front and back of your body as we engage the inner thigh. And reach away. Exhale. Feet relax. Inner thigh active. And then down. And again, reaching up. And bring it down 1 more time. And reaching up. And bringing it down. Good. Take your legs nice and wide on the ball. You're going to hold the ball, open your chest, and just let your legs roll to one side. Breathe in. Exhale, draw your abdominals in, legs come back, and inhale over to the other side. Activate your abdominals, bring your legs back, and we'll do each side 1 more time. This is where we say, just roll with it. And bring it back, good, and 1 more time. Take it over with your breath. And bring it back to center. Good. Pick the ball up with your feet. Grab it with your arms. Bring your legs down and extend them out. Take your ball overhead. Check again. Your shoulders are easy. Your ribs are in. Your tummy is drawn in. And we're going to take a breath in. The ball moves. Your head and chest lifts. And then you contract your abdominals and roll forward. Inhale. Exhale. Draw your abdominals in, rolling back, reaching your legs forward. Ribs stay heavy. Inhale. Exhale. Smooth and steady. Lengthen forward. Good. Arms are strong. Back is strong. And reach it overhead. Inhale. And exhale to come forward. Easy as you go back, drawing your pelvis away from your thighs. 2 more. Inhale. Notice my pace. See if you can match my pace here. Finding the control through your breath. And exhale all the way down, arms overhead. And 1 more time. Inhale. peeling off one vertebra at a time, and sit up tall. Take your legs astride, place the ball down, hands go onto the ball, and just lengthen forward. Take your right hand off and just reach it underneath, and then come back up. Lengthen forward, take your left hand off, reach it underneath, little rotation, and come back up. Again, lengthen forward. As your right hand comes off and you reach, keep your right sits bone planted. So we're just lengthening from the low back and a little rotation through your spine. Now we keep your left hip planted. And we bring it all the way in. Good. Turn and face forward. We're going to come into a mermaid stance. We want to keep this hip down. Think about your hip reaching towards your back heel. We're going to take the ball out as your arm comes over and just gently side bend. And we come up. So there's not too much stress on the shoulder. Rather than thinking of your arm supporting you, focus on the movement of the ribs. So I'm really thinking about my inside ribs lifting my top ribs over. And as I keep this hip reaching down to my back heel, there's actually work in my abdominals. So we go out, and I think about how my bottom ribs are pressing my top ribs up and over. And in, and one more time. Breathe in, and exhale, side bend over. This time we're going to add rotation. So we're going to turn your torso. Your pelvis will move. We're going to get some internal rotation of this hip. And you're just going to lengthen forward. And then lift your chest into a little bit of extension. Check your shoulders. They're down. Your collarbone is wide and open. You lengthen forward. And you lift. Now this time, lengthen forward. Stop where you've got that strength in the core, and you're going to lift that back leg up. And we lift from the glute and up. Keeping your leg in that same shape. And we lift for 4 more, and 3, and 2, and 1. And bring it down, bring it in, turn and face forward, one more side stretch. Big breath in, and exhale. Good, let's do the other side. Swing the ball around, and we are in our mermaid stance here. Good, so focusing on your bottom rib, lifting the top ribs up and over so we don't have too much load on your arm on the ball. So inhale, exhale, up and over with your ribs. Inhale, lift, and exhale in. Again, inhale. Focus on the expansion of your top ribs. These ribs are drawing down and up. These ribs are lifting up and over. And lift. And one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Good. And now this time you rotate your upper body. You lengthen forward. Lift your chest to come back up. Wide and open through the tops of your shoulders. Wide and open through your collarbone. It's just a little extension of your thoracic spine while in rotation. And lift. And one more time. And bring it up. Turn and face forward. One more side stretch for the road. Take a breath in. And exhale. Good. So now we're going to turn and face the ball. We will tuck your toes under and just sit your hips back on your heels. Just stretching through your toes and through the forefoot and through your ankles. Just breathe in that for just a couple of breaths. Stretching through the bottom of your feet. We need our toes to be able to extend for good gait. And then you're just going to gently rock onto the toes. Place your heels down and lift your hips up. And then we return. When your knees bend, you roll onto your toes, your chest comes up. and your knees come down. Again, back strong. Knees lift. Heels come down. As your heels come down, your sits bones lift up and away. You flex at your hip, your knee, your ankles. You roll your knees forward, stretching through your toes. We come onto the toes, reach your heels down, lengthen up, and this time we're going to roll all the way up to a standing position. Walking the ball towards you. Take a breath in, arms lift. And exhale, just let your ball go. And one more time, inhale, up. And exhale, down. Thank you for joining me. I hope that felt good for your body. Please leave any comments below. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Have a wonderful day.